Almost 2,000 years ago, a group of people in feudal Japan found themselves pushed further and further away from the mainstream of society as they refused to give up their spiritual beliefs to the imposed conformity of the ruling class. The ruling power made it illegal for common people to carry or own the deadliest weapon of the time, a finely edged sword. So these people had to learn to defend themselves in different ways, to walk the path of their own chosen desire, and to blend in so as not to attract attention. They learned survival skills so unsurpassed that the name ninja became feared by all who heard it. But the primary concern, then as now, was to live and to let live in peace and harmony so that all mankind can reach their own levels of heightened enlightenment. This black belt home study course is designed to set you on the path. Nenpo will give you the power to overcome life's obstacles by coming out on top. And the skills you will learn in this series will give you the flexibility to roll with life's everyday punches, the courage to climb above life's obstacles. Only your own discipline and perseverance can carry you through to the finish, your goal of receiving a black belt and all that it stands for. And view life from a different perspective from that uncluttered height. And what the insights that you've gained will help you to slice through all the things that are holding you back from being all that you can be. You may find that instead of being caught up in fights that don't concern you, you can just hang out and observe. Unless, of course, you need to take action, and then who knows? You may be so dazzling they don't even know what hit them. We will study from the traditional schools of Kumagakureru, Kotoru, Tagakureru, Gyokushinru, Gikanru, Gyokuru, Tagagi-yoshinru, Shinden Fururu, Kuki Shinden-rus of Grandmaster Masaaki Hatatsumi of the Budzinkan system. I am proud to present this black belt home study course. Now we're going to begin some levels of 5th Kyu. We're stepping up in the progression of our understanding, our utilization of everything that we've learned so far and learning to put those skills together in good combinations. By the time that you finish learning the 5th Kyu, you should be able to do all of the Kihon Happo in a very, very well manner and with much efficiency. This is very, very important. The first thing that I want to start off with 5th Kyu is to teach you some Taihenjutsu skills. By the time you reach the level of 5th Kyu, you're almost halfway to black belt. So your ability to be able to use your punches, your kicks, and your akemi skills have to be stepped up just a little bit. Because the realism of the techniques start to really happen and be able to use lots of different kinds of weapons and everything during your movement and your defense against other kinds of attackers who may be also wielding weapons. The Taihenjutsu skills that we're going to be practicing right now have to do with being able to use kicks and punches while going to the ground. We want to learn to do this safely. So it's important to use maybe mats or other kind of surfaces that are very soft until you get to the level of being able to do these techniques even on hard surfaces. Doing them on hard surfaces is not recommended, but in real life, life is not padded. But inside the dojo, we try to do our best to be able to train with mats and train in a very safe way so that we can train safely without getting hurt or without getting injured. That's a very, very important aspect because if you get hurt or injured, you can't train anymore. So it's important to be able to learn to train realistically and at the same time do your techniques in a way that you and especially your partner does not get hurt or injured. But because we're stepping up the level a little bit, we're going to show you some skills without using the mats. And the skills that we're going to be teaching are some aspects of using your punching and your kicking skis while doing your akemi. We're going to do these slow so that you can get an idea of what training should be like when you start going to harder surfaces. Let's begin. Okay. So, as my training partner comes in, throws a punch. As I'm falling to the ground, I want to go lightly, taking him down. This can also be done as if I'm actually falling myself, rolling over, punching, adding kicks. Some more. kicking, say taking the leg out, stopping, hitting, ski. Done from a punch. So I can be adding punches in here, continuing with punches, taking carefully my opponent to the ground. Also want to use the ideas of being able to go to the ground on purpose to deliver these kind of techniques. Once more. It's also going to be when my opponent comes up and grabs a hold of me. They're going to be taking me to the ground. So as I go to the ground and deliver a strike, maybe use my elbow on their leg, to the jaw, coming back over, taking them down in some kind of submission hold. Once more, an idea, we'll grab that immediately if he's going to be pulling me down, I may just go down with him. At the same time, adding a punch. Grab, a hold, do the choke, finish. As he pulls down on this arm, my hand is naturally drawn down to his leg. So I want to utilize that fact by as it comes down, I'm just going to punch. Taking advantage of that. I can land right on his foot. I could butt him with my head. I could raise the other elbow over, taking them into the ground. And then choose to do whatever I want to do from here. These are some ideas and principles of using ski and punches and kicks during Ikemi. Of course, this can get very rock and roll, as you'll see as we move on later through the tapes. But as, let's say that I start to take him to the ground also, I can be utilizing this as I pull down on the shoulder. I can be letting go of this hand, doing some kind of ski here, into the throat as I'm going, trapping, hitting, taking down, and finishing. Doing this stuff very, very slow so you can get an idea. Also, if I start to go to the ground, I can just kick these legs straight out. Deliver kicks of my own. Roll away. Can also use the aspect of if he's throwing a punch, I can be just rolling, punching through his leg, taking him down, rolling over on top, being very careful in the training not to step on his head, as I normally like to do. So those are some aspects of using punching and kicking while doing Ikemi. Practice them safely. Moving on with the Taijutsu skills. The next skill that we want to practice at the 5th Kyu level is Yoko Nagashi. Yoko Nagashi is a ground drop. These ground drops were maybe first done in ancient Japan when maybe, so let's say a ninja was running through the forest or something someplace, not wanting to be caught. Maybe he was running because samurai or something was chasing him on a horse, or many people were running after him. And he was running and hiding, maybe trying to get away. And they'd use this ground drop to be able to not only not be seen, maybe drop behind a bush, drop behind a log, or maybe just drop to the ground itself when someone came into view and they thought that maybe they were going to be seen. It was also done to be able to put your ear to the ground so that you'd be able to hear the oncoming attacker. Because you could definitely hear horses. You could definitely practice yourself by listening to cars, listen to when on a silent street, listening for a car to come by, to see how far away that you can actually hear with your ear on the ground to know when a car is coming. You can get to the point that you can actually learn to hear people walking. You can do it in your own home. And especially if you have hardwood floors, it's a little more difficult if you have carpet. But on a hardwood floor, you can take and put your ear down and on the ground, and you can listen for people and try to close your eyes and try to find out just how far away they are. This is very, very good practice. But you also want to be able to go to the ground quickly with this so that you're not going to be seen. So as we begin this technique, see, if I'm going to do this just quickly, I'm just going to go immediately to the ground, putting my ear to the ground, listening. And make sure that I have one leg tucked underneath me. So in this position, the other leg will be straight out, so I can be collapsed in this position so that I can even roll if I needed to roll. Going to the ground very softly, shown from a side view. And I'm very slowly. I just want to stretch myself out, collapsing my leg, putting my hands down, and putting my ear to the ground. I can get back up, I can take off very carefully, not being seen or heard. So, from the front, just want to go here, collapse the leg to the side, and down. Very easy to get back up, go back down. This is a direct ground drop. Again, we're still using regular floors just to show you a couple techniques on that without using the mats. So if I was just going to do this drop, I can listen and still keep my eyes in whatever direction that I need to be able to watch any oncoming attackers. Kakуши Geri, the art of using a crescent kick. Now, of course, there are these kind of kicks, and lots of different arts. Could be even high. That's actually the same like what this Kakушi Geri is. Most of Kakушi Geri techniques are kicking with a little crescent in here. Is actually done mostly in a lower nature. It can be done high, but kicking high actually can be somewhat dangerous for the person doing the kicking, because it really depends on your surface. If you're on rocks, pebbles, you're going to slip. If you're in oil, grass, or it's wet. So a lot of times those high kicks, even though that I've done a lot of those at different other arts and stuff and have black belts in those systems, I don't use kicks to the head or stuff like that often. Not that I won't, but I usually will sneak them in. So the techniques here with this, that you also want to use your whole body in doing these techniques versus just doing a kick. I want to utilize my body so that if I'm doing this kick, it's the same thing as doing a very high shinobi technique. It's just my body is coming down. So even if I'm kicking the leg out, my body's doing a transfer. So it's the body versus just the leg doing it. It's my body that makes this motion. They also go outside and inside. Outside and inside. Now it can be just a quick thing where I'm just using part of my body, but it's using the body. You can also do a whole turn just doing these kicks. You could kick high against a ski, but notice it's my body moving over. The drill that we practice is inside, outside, inside, outside. So let's try a couple of these with an actual partner. Person comes up, say grabs a hold. This can be done as a kick into the leg itself, kicking person down. Picture D. Okay. Could also come from the other angle, coming into the leg and taking down. Be done against a punch. Person comes in the punch, just catching the leg itself. Down, stomping into the body. Once more from another angle. So I can kick into the body itself, kick low into the leg here, low into the leg here, straighten his leg back out, just delivering this way, or coming this way. I also can parry this, kick it into the body. I can kick in this way, kick back this way. I also could bring it up to the face. If I was here, but I don't quite recommend that. Or even into the leg, sweeping this way, sweeping back this way. Once more. So a punch, just comes in here, come across, come back the other way, come back into the face. Utilizing this leg. We've shown you several of these so you get an idea of possibilities of using the aspects of Kakушi Geri. Then again against a punch. Punch comes. I could choose to go high if I wanted to. Stomping. Stomping again, moving away. Once more. Doing this slow because we're still doing training for the last time on with not using the mats themselves, so you get an idea of training without mats. Kicking the arm. Kicking on top, running, moving away. Then against the kick, very easy to take people down. Once more. Okay, shown now from the kick from the outside, going out, taking this down. I could use my knee, back to the head again. Using aspects of that kind of motion. Once more. As he kicks, I'm just turning my body, so he's missing. It's more full speed kick. Okay, a little faster on the kick. See, I'm just going over. So as this kick comes, it's real easy to do that. Now, I actually didn't deliver the whole kick because of the speed that we were doing. So as he goes to kick, very easy to take that. Go back up in the groin. Back through the face. Stomping. I can even do this on a moving out. I'm in this position, I'm moving out and go across the face. Bam. Finishing off my opponent. You can also catch kicks with this. And down. Different choice. Okay. Thank you, sir. Those are some aspects of the Kakушi Geri. Practice safely. Now we're going to move on to actually using mats during our training. So just for the safety of everybody, and since you can get the idea that safety is very, very important in your training. Let's go to the next technique of Dokken Taijutsu.
Okay, the next thing we're going to learn in 5th Kyu is Dokken Taijutsu. And in Dokken Taijutsu, the first strike we're going to learn is Bosi Ken, or driving fist strike. You use your whole body behind this, not just your thumb and your fist. And the driving force is the knee. So when you strike, you're driving it through with the knee. This is used for soft tissue parts of the body, to really get in there and drive it home. Against a punch, right in underneath the ribs here. Or also up here, underneath, in the soft parts, the vulnerable parts of the neck. Bosi Ken. Okay, also in Dokken Taijutsu, we have Shako Ken, or the claw fist. This is used for ripping and tearing techniques. This would be used to tear down the face, tear down the skin, grab an ear, tear it off in a real situation. Okay. for the eyes. Clawing right down. Shako Ken, or claw fist.
The next form of the Dokken Taijutsu is Sampo Geri, or a hidden kick. These are using kicks in a way that the person cannot see what you're doing. It's what you don't see that's going to get you in trouble versus what you... If you see a punch coming, you have time to react to it. But if it's just there and you don't notice what's going to happen or expect it, that's when you're in trouble. Let's show you the aspects of using this with kicks, Sampo Geri. And teach this off if a person comes up and grabs with both hands. They're grabbing. I may have my hands up here that's distracting some of their face. But if I'm slightly bending my knees as I do in Shizen, they're not going to see this kick slide up into the groin. One of the good aspects of the inside of the foot here is that it can, and the leg, is it gives a running target for the groin. Slides right up the leg. I can use this with either foot, so it's an unseen kick. So as this person comes, it's just inside automatically. They don't even see it happening. I can continue as we're doing with the kicks the other day, taking the person down using our kicks. Another aspect of this is that if I'm doing a motion where I'm taking this person off, they probably will not see me pull the kick down into their body. This also could be into the face, but as this arm comes down, I'm coming into the body. Things that they don't see. They probably wouldn't expect this kick. They definitely can't see this kick. These are some aspects of using Sampo Geri, or hidden kicks. Next is the Kihon Koshi Sanpo of Hicho no Kata. The basic form of Hicho no Kata, done without a partner, which is primarily done with a partner, is first beginning in Hicho no Kamai. From Hicho no Kamai, I will go down with my body, arm only just barely to the outside. Looking at my partner, I come up. This is a flying bird posture, so I'm going to fly up, bringing my foot back down near the same position that it just left from. I'm going to be stepping in, starting with the Ura Shuto, ending with the Ura Shuto at the neck. Once more, basic posture, falling back into Hicho, down, flying up, Ura Shuto. Now let's take a look at that with an actual partner. This partner comes up and begins the punch from the lower punch to the midsection. Lower strike right to the gut. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be starting in Hicho no Kamai. In Hicho, I want to make sure that my body is facing a 90-degree angle, my knee pointing at my opponent. My hand barely across the body, my thumb inside the elbow joint. As the strike comes, coming down, clearing this. I'm coming back up to kick in to the neck, or I can kick into the body right under the armpit. Coming back, I can hold on to the arm if necessary, stepping forward, Ura Shuto. One more time from the opposite direction. Coming down, blocking, kicking into the body, or up into the face. Coming down, strike to the neck. That is the basic form of Hicho no Kata. The Kihon Happo practiced in 5th kyu is Gansэki Nage, done with an opponent. As the person comes up, lapel grab, sleeve grab, opposite on both sides. They come up and do this grab that I fall back at a 45-degree angle, just as we started in learning the Mусо-dori technique. But this time, instead of going over, we go under, stepping up onto the person's foot. Slide both feet together. Step this foot inside the center. Toes this way. As I turn and pivot my heel straight, I'm going to take my elbow with the hand that's up and bring it to the opposite knee, throwing the person forward. Once more from the other side. This is Gansэki Nage. Both feet forward. Take I may pull this person off balance. I control with his shoulder. Again, I control with thumbs here, holding onto pieces here. You can see the grimaces in his face. I'm sliding through, stomping onto the foot. Slide the other foot up, step into the center. As I turn, I want to keep my back straight as I take this elbow to the opposite knee. Beginning basic form of Ganseki Nage. One more time. Maybe we can catch the footwork on this as you watch the footwork, both feet forward. Natural grab, judo type style grab. As I fall back, I want to step up. Slide this foot into this position right next to this other foot. Step in between his legs, a little bit deep. Toes going in. I pivot my heel as I turn my body, keeping my body straight up and down, continuing to take my knee over by my elbow. I could finish in any other kind of natural position that's necessary to control or subdue my attacker. Basic techniques of Ganseki Nage. Practice them, get them down exactly, because the Kihon efficiency is very, very important in 5th kyu. The next two techniques are from the Gyaku Waza. The first one that we're going to do is Muso-dori. As your opponent comes up and grabs a hold of one sleeve, you want to step out to the side, hand coming underneath, turning the arm over at the elbow. The left hand would grab a hold of the other hand. I can take right from here and bring my opponent straight down. Falling back, rolling the elbow over. I could take straight down here, or I could move my feet and continue this down and actually even hold this hold. On the other side, falling down, turning the arm over so that the elbow is down. I can drive my body forward, making his body fall forward, trapping his arm. Muso-dori. Add a few little extra things since you're moving on to the 5th kyu level. Those are the techniques of Muso-dori. Next technique we want to move on to is Ura Onakadaki. The aspects of Ura Onakadaki is more of a, not as a complete form in itself, such as the movements that we're doing in Onakadaki, or Mote Onakadaki. We virtually want to have the arm into the same position, but this is a kind of more of a free form coming from a void type energy or aspect, that the hand comes in and I may just right from here turn this arm into this position to take down. So it can be just here. It looks like Muso-dori, but Muso-dori is more when it comes all the way underneath. These things can be done from a punch, so it's just here into this position. It also can be done where it comes on the opposite side, taking my opponent down. Once more, it comes, my arm's just coming over this, trapping into my body, or using my other hand to rotate this into an Ura Onakadaki. I also can grab a hold of his body for a little pain in the middle of it. So once more, maybe from on the other side. Just from here, coming down. A couple ideas and concepts of using Ura Onakadaki. Shinken Tai Ninjutsu. Evading sword cuts. 3 basic postures. One of Hira, one of Ichimonji, and one of Jumonji. We begin now first with Hira. basic form of Hira no Kamae. Attacker comes from a Dai-Jodan position, cutting down to the defendant in a Hira no Kamae posture. Goes back into Ichimonji, evading the sword. As the attacker starts to come forward, rolls away into a position to be able to defend himself again. Next form is Ichimonji. Same with the Dai-Jodan attack. Once more. As the attacker comes down from a Dai-Jodan attack, the defender in Ichimonji evades off to the side, rolls, second strike, comes in with a Bosi Ken strike into the midsection. Next attack of Jumonji no Kate. Once more, as the attacker comes with a Dai-Jodan attack, defender in Jumonji, jumping forward, attacking the Shuto to the neck. Back into a Jumonji, watching in case there's any more attacks by the attacker. These are the basic forms of Hira, Ichimonji, and Jumonji, the Muso-dori, or sword evasion from Shinken Taihenjutsu. The next thing we're about to practice is Hajutsu Koho, some Taiho Doki techniques or body escapes from people grabbing you, especially from behind in this fifth cue. So if I'm turned and someone comes up and grabs a hold of me, I want to expand my chest and push my arms out to give me more space in here in which that when I release my breath, I have room to be able to move out of this hold. So I'm giving them a false illusion of having all of me because I'm expanded out as this comes on. Now I'm not going to stand here for a long time to get someone time to be able to really squeeze me up. But if I did happen to, like, say, be unaware, and a person comes and they grab, and I'm here, and I can't get out this way, well, one thing I can do is just hang on this person and falling back, doing damage, and doing more defenses as you've learned already. Basic aspects. I want you to practice being able to expand and just being able to contract and to move out. Some of the very, very basic things. Maybe straight from behind. See, I'm expanding out as if I'm big and strong here, so that when I release, I have this room. There's many other aspects. Continue disabling my attacker or doing things to control them even just with one finger. So let's just see a couple more applications of this Hajutsu. Maybe if I'm not aware that there's actually an attacker behind me that comes up and grabs, and these other people start punching and attacking, that I may need to move and turn so I can finish off all of them and then safely run and get away. I've been grabbed up. 3 big thugs. Lots of ways out of this particular thing will really depend on how they're going to be pulling on me. If one pulls one way, then I may go that way with everything by turning, stepping, twisting. Probably. If I may do this, I could step over, taking one leg and the person off balance as my hand comes up to rotate behind, pulling this person down, turning that person, throwing them together. Okay? You can also step behind this person, throwing this person in together now, starting to hold. Bam, bam. If I'm standing here and someone's caught me from behind, shuriken. The weapon for 5th Kyu is Shuriken Jitsu, or learning how to use shurikens. Shurikens are actually blades. Primarily, everybody is familiar with the ones that they see, in the movies, like a 4-bladed or 5-bladed shuriken. Make sure that if you're making it your own and have, actually add cutting edges on each side, which I would not be running my finger over, make sure that it has a hole in the center. The hole helps in the aerodynamics of the actual throw of the shuriken. Shuriken actually were really mostly used for inside grappling techniques because it's like having a multi-knife in a person's hand. You have knife points sticking out at various points. You can grapple inside this way, cutting into a person into the throat. You can utilize striking forms where you're cutting down, cutting across very, very efficiently, especially if you're doing some kind of jumonji type motions of some Dokken Taijutsu. Lots of cutting where a person cannot see that you actually have a blade. They were thrown because sometimes if an attacker was at a distance or because you needed to distract that person to be able to get away, or maybe that it was your very best defense was to be able to throw. We will cover throwing aspects of the shuriken right after we go through a couple aspects of using the shuriken in actual grappling type situations against an attacker. The attacker comes and realize that everything that we basically do is usually by the intent of the attacker. If the attacker comes, necessarily maybe in a life and death situation where they're really trying to choke me or something, it's very easy for me to cut right through on the arms, cutting through on the face, maybe ripping down, punching in. So my punches will be driving blades into a person, cutting right through. I can take the bladed part here and come right down into the throat, cutting down, or even into the throat here. I can rip right across the muscles, down the hands. So you can see this is a very, very deadly weapon, even in doing the natural form where I'm moving out, cutting down on these wrists, cutting back up in the throat, cutting down the body, cutting through the leg. A person doing an attack would not know what happened. It's almost like it have a blindless swordsman there. Especially if let's say a samurai was just walking by with his swords and all of a sudden there's a slice across his leg. So one reason how the ninja kind of got their name for their evasion and their stealth skills. Because he might thought that he was actually cut by a live blade and never saw his assailant. Pretty nifty. So, also, besides just these 4-pointed, there's only 2-pointed stars. It's actually any kind of blade at all, or throwing blade. We also like to start you out learning a little bit about throwing even live blades or live weapons and in your training. We will cover those on some actual targets in just a moment. The basic form to show you of utilizing some basic shuriken, I want you to practice first with rubber shuriken so that you get the hang of it, the handle of it, and realize how they move in the hands before you practice with any real weapons. Again, that you want to practice with the most safety as possible, and to be able to practice in any of your demonstrations, do not use any live blades. It should go unstated, but it necessarily needs to be said. Safety is number one first. If I'm in a position, I want to be able to use, and like Ichimonji, I want to be able to use this rock in my body in delivering these shuriken. That having these in my hand, I would actually peel off one at a time. This little hole in the center actually gives me the ability to do that. some aspects of the Shuriken Jitsu. Now we'll go to some actual live targets and learning how to throw knives and blades from Shuriken. Those are the aspects of Shuriken Jitsu. Practice, make sure that you're very careful in throwing any kind of shuriken or using any kind of weapon against any other opponent. These are very, very, very important aspects, especially beginning to know what your effects are happening with your opponent in 5th kyu. Because in 5th kyu you have to learn to be watching, to taking the other opponent off balance, and how you start creating that. So your next start levels as you progress and start going on now to your 4th kyu.
When people find out that I study ninjutsu, they usually have many different questions for me. These questions are usually things like, how many people can you beat up, or can you do what that TV ninja did last week on a late movie or something like that. What these people don't stop and think about is that maybe we gain something from ninjutsu that isn't what they see. What they see is TV, movies, and mass media, and not real ninjutsu. Real ninjutsu gives us many things that aren't seen in the fake Hollywood type ninja roles that people seem to equate with our art. One of the best things that I have gotten from studying ninjutsu has been that of being able to set and attain my goals. I set a goal of being a black belt many years ago, and I sat down and looked at what I was going to need to do to become a black belt. You've set the same goal, and whether you know it or not consciously, you're doing the exact same thing that I did to attain that goal. You bought this video set. Right now you're sitting in front of your TV watching it. You've been practicing the moves that you've seen demonstrated by the people who put this videotape together. and you're seeking out instruction so that you too can become a black belt in ninjutsu. Outside of ninjutsu, this is important. This helps us in our everyday lives, everything that we do. If we want to attain anything, if we want to get anything that we don't have in our life right now, we've got to, 1, set it as a goal, 2, look at what it takes to achieve that goal, and 3, have the discipline to attain that goal. Ninjutsu teaches us excellent discipline. Without discipline, we don't get better, we don't grow, we don't go anywhere. We just kind of stay stagnant. If we don't have discipline in class, we stay stagnant in our art. We don't get any better. If we don't have discipline in our lives, we don't get that raise we want, or we don't get the other job that we wanted, or we don't attain whatever good it was that we wanted for our life. By having respect for other people, ninjutsu teaches us that all people are important, whether it's a white belt or a black belt or even the Grand Master. They're all people who are important and deserve respect. Every time we train with somebody, we bow to them as a sign of respect. I respect you, and I'm not going to hurt you, and I expect you to respect me and not hurt me. By having this trust in other people and this respect, it translates into our lives outside of ninjutsu, and we can look and see in our own personal relationships that we have to have trust in the people that we care about, the people that are close to us. We have to respect them and their ideas, and we have to treat them as if they're important people, because they are. I honestly believe that studying ninjutsu is probably the best thing that you can do to enhance your life. You learn to accomplish your goals and to attain those things that you really want. You learn to respect other people. You learn to make better relationships with other people. You learn a spirit of cooperation that you will not find in any other martial art that I know of. Ninjutsu isn't based on competition or me being better than you or someone winning and someone losing. Ninjutsu is based more on the fact that we are all going through life and we all have our own path that we have to follow, and that by following our own path we get the things that we desire, we learn the lessons that we want to learn out of life, and we become the people that we always hoped that we could be.
We'll start going on now to your 4th cue.